Welcome to Kinesiology 340, Measurement Evaluation, and I wanted to provide a presentation that briefly discusses the research proposal assignment for you, just to give you a little bit more understanding. Now be sure you read through completely the assignment details and guidelines I've posted in Moodle. This gives you all the information that you should need to complete the project, and this presentation is really just supplemental to that. And as you read through the assignment guidelines, take it section by section. Don't try to address all the areas at one time because you'll be overwhelmed and that will sacrifice the quality of your work. And as I mentioned before, I don't provide examples, and I know some of you would prefer that, but in all the years I've been doing this, the times when an example is provided, it's just simply copied. And I want you to do your own thinking and develop your own work, which is why I only provide guidelines rather than examples. So after you have your initial idea and you've answered the basic questions related to your topic of interest, which are what do you want to study and why, how is the area of study significant, and what problems do you think this research would help solve, you can begin to write your introduction. And the intro is a brief 1 to 3 paragraph statement that just introduces the reader to the study. And in here you're providing information just to clarify and explain the study. You'll state what the central research problem is, and you'll discuss related concerns. And this just adds more credibility and rationale to your research study. You'll also mention the methods that you will use to obtain data and analyze the data, and ultimately just explain the importance of conducting research in this area. Avoid simply answering these questions in a Q&A format. Be creative in your writing and give the reader a reason to continue reading. Demonstrate good writing ability throughout your research project. The next section to develop is the background and significance of the study. Here you should provide more detail about the problem and purpose statement. Explain how you came to identify the area of interest and why you want to study it. What factors played a role in this area. Remember, this should be something that you are genuinely interested in and not something just to do to complete the assignment. Be comprehensive in discussing all the areas related to the study. Think about the big picture. What are some of the problems or concerns as it relates to the study area? How are other things affected by this area of interest? And here you'll also need to provide an explanation as to how you plan to conduct the research. This will be a general mention as you will provide more details in the methods section, but mention what you plan to do, where you plan to do it, the population you'll use, and other pertinent information. So this provides a more well-rounded background of the overall study. And basically in this section, you're demonstrating that you've provided an in-depth investigation into the issue and you have enough information to actually conduct a research study. Then you'll have your literature review section. And the main purpose of this section is to provide the reader and other possible researchers or investigators to prove to them that you've actually conducted a detailed look, a background investigation, additional research into any articles that are related to your topic. And this is quite possibly the most time-consuming section. It's also one of the most very important sections that you'll complete, because a good researcher will read tens and possibly hundreds of articles to get a good idea of areas that are or can be affected related to the area of research. It's also a good idea to provide you with enough background information so you're more knowledgeable about the area. It helps you demonstrate that you have a comprehensive understanding of the topic, that you're a master of knowledge in this area that's related to your research. Now, while exceptional research proposals may have several articles cited, you're only required to have 6. More would be better, but 6 will be sufficient for our purposes. When writing your lit review, demonstrate that you have actually read the articles and you have a good understanding of the content. The first thing that you will do in this section is provide a complete reference of the article, and this is followed by your summary review of that article. And to know what to include in the summary review, read the posted assignment guidelines and respond to all the 5 sections listed. Again, don't just respond to them briefly in a Q&A type format, but be comprehensive, be thorough. You're writing this out in an essay format. You're following APA guidelines. And some examples of the correct reference list when you get started are posted here. Remember, you'll have the same reference included in your document twice. Once just before your summary of the article that you've read and you summarize, and secondly on your reference page. So be sure that you give some significant time and attention to your lit review, because what you want to do is make sure that anyone who's reading this has a good understanding that you actually read the article, but also you're providing enough information to say, well, this area of research relates to your specific topic because. The next section will be your research design and methods section. Here, you will provide a detailed discussion and explanation on how you plan to gather the information and how you plan to make sense of the information that you get. You'll explain step by step the process you plan to use to solicit participants, what those participants will do, all of the data collection methods, interviews, surveys, questionnaires, and include also the questions that you will ask or that you plan to ask the participants. You'll also explain your analysis process as well, and that is what you will do with the information once you've collected it. How will you organize it? How will you process that information and re-explain it? As with the other sections, this is also written in an essay format, so be sure you're pretty comprehensive because this provides the reader with enough information and knowledge that says, yes, I have a viable research project idea, I've done some investigation behind it, and these are the processes that I'm going to take in order to conduct this research. The next section is your suppositions and implications area. Here, since you're not actually conducting the research, you will take a guess as to what the results may include. So what do you think you'll learn from the research? And because you can't possibly address all the related topics, you'll have to investigate and kind of make a guess as to what other areas similar to this research may suggest or how your research may benefit other areas as well. And so because you can't investigate everything, you kind of want to cover your bases and make it a little bit more broad. For example, if you're investigating the impact that weight training has on athletic performance, you may only be focusing on free weights and how that affects athletic performance, but you'll also need to consider whether or not universal machines have an impact, low weight bearing activities, no weight exercises, resistance training, any other forms of exercise can have the same impact, so you don't want to exclude those totally. So although you may be focused on one particular area, you also want to address the possibility that something else may be able to give you the same results. Also, in your suppositions and implications section, consider how the results might be beneficial to others in the field and how you think the research can improve the profession. Then you'll have your conclusion. And this is basically an overall summary of your research proposal. So here you're going to simply restate why the study was done and what you hope to learn from the study and what you hope the study can contribute to the overall profession. Lastly, you'll have your reference page, and this is of course formatted in APA and alphabetized. Remember to double space the entire document. Your entire assignment should be double spaced. You're using section titles or section headings that are centered and in bold, and you're following the assignment guidelines. Make sure that you view the rubric that has been posted in Moodle as well. And as usual, if there are ever any questions, please feel free to contact me. I don't want you to go into this assignment thinking you haven't been informed enough, but I don't know what you don't know unless you tell me. So be sure you ask questions if you have any questions, and I'll be glad to clarify anything that may be confusing to you. That's it for now. Take care, and we'll see you later.